Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's it going? Today is game day, Thursday, August 25th, 2022. It's game day. Wake up, everybody. I hope you guys are awake and alive and ready to roll. I came on a little early today. I felt like doing a little morning show instead of waiting a little later. I was going to do an afternoon pregame show, but you know what? Screw it. It's the morning. Let's rock and roll. Let's talk about the Niners. I want to talk about players to kind of keep an eye on and just kind of preview the game because we're all excited about today. It's the dress rehearsal, the final game of the regular season, of the regular preseason. Sorry, the final game of the preseason until the regular season gets going. And I'm beyond excited. We talked about this yesterday, and all everybody was dropping their comments and their score predictions. So I think everybody's just super happy that we got a game today. And not only that, after this, it gets real. So, let's talk about it today. I'll let you guys jump in. What's up, 49ers Raj? Dope shirt. You like it? See, Squid Game shirt, courtesy of where? Target. Another Target. Day 8 of Target trying to sponsor me. I'm going to get a sponsorship by Target, whether it kills me or not. I don't know. One of these days. But Target with another fantastic shirt for your boy. I'm telling you, man, I probably have every graphic tee that they have. I need to get some more though. Actually, I'm kind of running out, so I need to get a few more. But how's everybody doing? Are you guys excited for game day? I know I am. And we're gonna get right to everybody's comments, and everything like that. So I don't know. This is kind of a big game because after this it gets real, and a lot of these players are ready to try to make this roster, right? They're trying to make this roster. There's people on the bubble. There's people that are going to get cut, and there's going to be some business decisions, and we're going to be unhappy for some of these players, but that's the way it goes. The NFL is a business. Hopefully, some of these guys get brought back to the practice squad, but we'll see. We'll see. We waiting for Colin to show up for the game today. What's up, man? How are we doing? Let's go. What up, the Brown Recluse? What's up, 49ers Media? What's good? What's up, man? I finally figured out how to use this damn app with putting the comments on there. So it took me a little bit. Didn't even realize you could put the comments on the screen. But hey, it is what it is. We're here now. So let's get back to what we want to talk about today. So there is a game. There's a lot of players to kind of keep an eye on. We're going to get right to it. So to me, all eyes on Trey. And not Trey Lance. Trey Sermon. This is one of the guys we have to keep an eye on for because his name has been dragged across the mud. His name has been kind of controversial this preseason because he hasn't looked good, right? They haven't had Trent Williams, but if you really think about it, he's been running behind some of the same linemen that TDP and Mason have been doing, although they've been playing against third stringers and stuff. And Trey Sermon, you got to be a little bit more fair. He's been playing against first and second teamers. So I think they need to have a fair playing field and put them all against the same looks. Put them in that first team and see what running back does the best. But Trey Sermon, it's crazy because we are sitting here today questioning whether he's a lock to make the team or not. It is crazy that we don't even know if Trey Sermon is a lock to make the team today because he might possibly miss the roster. He's averaging 1.7 yards per carry, 1.5 yards after contact. He's not following his blockers. He's not showing the ability to create. He doesn't have that initial burst. What's going on with Trey Sermon? What is going on with Trey Sermon, man? I don't know, man. It's tough, to sit here and see a guy that they drafted in the 3rd round last year, and he struggled, and now is he making the roster? It's a big question, and everybody's wondering, and everybody's worried because you have to think about all the other running backs, and this is why I let off with this because this has been the topic of the last 2 weeks. At running back, everybody asks, who's making this roster at running back? Who's making the roster at running back? Shit, man, I don't know, because you have to sit there and think, okay, Jeff Wilson, he's making the roster. He's starting today. Jeff Wilson was announced that he's starting from Matt Barrows. He announced it earlier. He wrote an article, said that Jeff Wilson's starting. Obviously, he's making this roster. He's not getting cut. He's the veteran. Elijah Mitchell, he's not getting cut. He's running back 1. He's nursing a hamstring injury, but he'll be ready for week 1 as your first string running back. After that, you got Ty Davis-Price. He's a rookie 3rd rounder, and he's been showing great skills, so he's not going to get cut. This guy's been really doing well. And then it comes down to these guys. And then you got Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback. He's going to make the roster. And it comes down to Jordan Mason, Trey Sermon, and JaMycal Hasty. Shout out to JaMycal Hasty. This guy can catch out of the backfield. He's been playing with his hair on fire. I got to give him credit. You know me and JaMycal Hasty, we're not, I give him a lot of slack. I give him a lot of crap. But I'm going to cut him some slack because he's playing well. He is playing absolutely phenomenal in the preseason. Again, he's a preseason warrior, but he knows how to earn his starting spot. So shout out to JaMycal Hasty. Then you got Jordan Mason versus Trey Sermon. If you just base it off the preseason, Jordan Mason's playing out of his mind, and he's playing better than Trey Sermon. He looks better than Trey Sermon. He's the highest graded running back via PFF. Although I get it, PFF grades, you take it with a grain of salt. But Trey Sermon doesn't have the highest graded PFF grade, and we see it on the field that Jordan Mason's balling. So this is a question. If it comes down to Mason, Hasty, and Sermon, if it comes down to 3 guys for one spot, who makes the final spot? If it's me, it's Jordan Mason. Wow. Hal says Davis Mills getting picked off by Quantrez Knight. Book it, baby. I love it. Let's go. Let's see some of these comments. T.Y. says Sermon doesn't have that toughness right now. That's why Mitchell destroyed him last year. I agree. It's mental. A lot of it, and we talk about this so much, guys. Mental. It's in here. Sometimes you get to that level, you have expectations, you struggle, you get an injury early, and then you see another guy doing better than you in camp, and you're like, you get frustrated. You get mentally frustrated about anything in life. I get mentally frustrated about shit all the time, man, and you just have to learn how to rise above it. And some people, it takes them longer, and I think Trey Sermon is mentally frustrated. He had the injuries last year. He struggled a little bit off the gates. Elijah Mitchell came and stole the show from him, 6th-round pick, and then this year, high expectations. He came into camp looking good, and then he get the ankle injury. He's been not showing up in the games, and it's mental, man. It is tough. And 49er Media, he said it right here. He says, do you think it's mental with Sermon? I absolutely think that it's mental with him. That is definitely what I think, So definitely, we're on the same page. T.Y. says, is Ambry going to play tonight, or is he still out? You know what? That's a good question. I'm not sure. He has been nursing an injury. Kyle Shanahan did say he wants to see him compete for a spot. So it tells me that if he's healthy, he's going to play. But again, I've kind of been under the impression that they're going to probably put Ambry on like a PUP or injured reserve type of list. That way they don't have to cut him or waive him, and he could still be on the roster technically. So I don't know. I hope Ambry Thomas is going to play, because we're going to get to that later about cornerbacks, because that's a situation we got to keep an eye on too. So definitely somebody to keep an eye on is Ambry Thomas. Another guy. He was a high-round pick last year, a 3rd-round pick last year. And he's kind of struggled this offseason. He hasn't shown that improvement, unlike Diamador Lenore. Lenore last year came out looking good, and then he kind of struggled, and they didn't play him much. And then Ambry Thomas got his opportunity. He got the game, winning interception against the Rams. And we didn't hear anything about Lenore. But now we see Lenore this year. He looks so focused. He's been balling out of control this preseason and training camp. And then, he told reporters this week, he had a lot of personal issues. He lost his cousin, and his brother got paralyzed. So that mentally messed him up. So going back to mental, you're absolutely right, Media. The mental part of the game, man, we don't look at it enough. You got to take care of those mentals. So that goes hand in hand. And maybe Ambry Thomas is mentally frustrated. You don't know what's going on with these guys' minds sometimes. So that's why I try to give them a benefit of the doubt. I don't like to always rip on them. Certain players, maybe not, but you got to give them the benefit of, you don't know what they're going through. But if you're Justin Skule, it ain't mental. You're just not good. Oh, man. Let's get to some more of these questions. Let's see. Oh, Smitty's in the show. He says Mitchell, number 1, TDP, number 2, number 3, Mason. And then he says the rest with Hasty and Sermon fighting for last. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's how it goes. Mitchell, TDP, Mason. Although, Smitty, I know you're not high on Jeff Wilson Jr., he's making the roster. Whether you like it or not, he's making the roster. He's starting tonight. Kyle Shanahan is loyal to the soil. Jeff Wilson Jr. was injured last year, and he didn't get a chance to prove himself. So they're going to give him the opportunity this year to play and earn his contract, his money. I don't think Jeff Wilson doesn't make this roster. I know Smitty doesn't like him, and I know he's got Smitty says he's got the Jalen Hurd kind of syndrome where he gets hurt and he doesn't really do as much because he gets hurt all the time. And I get that, and Jeff Wilson Jr. has been hurt. But when he's on the roster and he's effective very well. He's a red zone guy. He can score. a lot of touchdowns, and he's a veteran. Kyle Shanahan likes veterans in his locker room for these, every unit, there's at least one veteran in each group, like running back, wide receiver, cornerback. There's got to be a veteran in each group because they're like the leader when they go through their meetings and they go through their film studies. That's the guy that leads the way for each group. He may not be the most talented on the roster at that position, but you have to have a veteran. But, let's see. If Stingley plays in this matchup against Debo, it would be a good one. Lenore has been balling. We have so much good depth at corner for once. I love it, man. I love it, T.Y. The fact that we have so much depth is just absolutely amazing. And this is one of the positions I've been screaming for. I've been screaming at the top of my lungs, get me a cornerback. Get me a fucking cornerback. And they got some good dogs at cornerback. But, again, we have to hope that they stay healthy because if they don't get healthy, then they might go out to the waiver wire and pick up some bums. Because if they get hurt, guess who they're calling up? Yo, Josh Norman. Yo, you remember last year when he was getting PIs for us? We need you back because we got some injuries. So please, for the love of God, don't get any injuries, 49ers. The 49er gods, the football gods, please do not cast any injuries upon 49ers, especially the secondary, because I don't want Josh Norman and Dre Kirkpatrick on this roster. I will die. I will puke my brains out. 49ers, Raj. Good question, because this takes me to my next topic here. Who will look better tonight, Banks or Poe? He says he's got Poe. I like Jason Poe, man. This boy, he's a bowling ball. He's, 6 foot? Big boy. And he has the leverage of an ox, man. He's so strong. I don't know how he does it. But the fact that he's, this small, 6 foot for a lineman, that, he doesn't look like a lineman in terms of build and size and everything, but he just knows how to get his strength and his leverage and his technique down, and he's been balling out of control. This guy is a hard worker. And again, we've talked about Jason Poe and his story, undrafted out of Mercer College. Where is Mercer College? Let's look it up. I don't even know where Mercer is. I really don't. Let's look it up. Mercer College. I don't even know. It's in the East Coast, probably Georgia or the South. It's in Georgia. I didn't know. It's a college in Georgia. Mercer, small school. People don't know about it, but this guy is balling. He's making the roster. I think he makes the roster, and tonight he might solidify himself as a big-time player of this team. I know Aaron Banks right now is probably left guard, as he should be. He's a second-round pick, and he's been playing pretty good this offseason. Had a nice camp. He's had a pretty decent preseason. But reportedly this week, Jason Poe was taking some snaps at first-team guard. He split snaps with Aaron Banks. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. Jason Poe is a guy that I wrote down that he's steady rising. He's a guy that we have to keep an eye on because Aaron Banks definitely is the starter, but will they rotate him? If Jason Poe looks good, you have to get him in the roster. Maybe center eventually. I don't know. He's versatile. He can play everywhere on the line, center and guard, really, and he can play fullback. Shanahan loves people that are versatile and they can kind of do a lot. Those Swiss Army knife guys, look at his roster through the years. They've had Raheem Mostert. He played special teams running back. You had Jimmy Ward. They've played him at safety, cornerback. You have a guy like, who else is pretty versatile? Dan Brunskill. He plays guard. They tried him at center. He's played tackle. So they have players. Deebo Samuel, he's the king of versatility. Running back, wide receiver, he played quarterback one time. He threw a touchdown to Juwan Jennings. So Shanahan loves these versatile players. I think if Jason Poe has a big game tonight, he might really solidify himself as a big part of this roster moving forward. And I think his future with this team is going to be solidified. He's definitely a guy that in the future, I see him starting on this lineup. I don't know if he's going to be starting week 1 because Aaron Banks hasn't done anything to say, oh, yeah, he's not starting. But it is interesting that they're splitting with Banks and Poe and everybody. So it's just a great story. I think Aaron Banks ultimately is your starting left guard. But I want to see what Jason Poe does today. I want to see him really dominate because he's had a good preseason. And Aaron Banks, he kind of has some pressure on him. He's going to have pressure on him the whole season. Second year. This is his first year starting. They got rid of Laken Tomlinson. And they expect him to be a premium starter. So we're going to see. Let's see. Love the depth we have. If we would be shocked. 49er Media says, I would be shocked if Jeff Wilson doesn't make the team. Same here. Same here. My man Salvador Lopez has me watching in the middle of class. Don't get in trouble. Tell your teacher it's game day. RSF 49ers is right here doing a live stream, and you can't get in trouble for that. Come on, man. Don't get in trouble because of me. But if you do, tell them you got to watch the live stream. This is the morning show. You know what I mean? So 49ers Rod says, you couldn't find any Texas fan page to collab with. They don't exist. No, I hit up. There was 2 of them, and none of them got back to me. One of them was like, "Oh yeah, I'll see if I can." And then the other one, he says, "I don't think I'm able to." And then I texted him again. I was like, "Hey, let me know." They didn't get back to me. These Texans fans, they didn't want any smoke. I don't think they thought I was being sincere. I was like, "Look, I just really want to get live and talk to you about your team, and we'll go about it." And they didn't give me the time of day. So Texans fans, fan pages, you're running your page is very wrong. I'm excited for week 1 against Chicago because I got the ultimate host. I got the ultimate guest, I should say, is Bear Down Cuz of man, Chicago fan extraordinaire. That is going to be a phenomenal guest day. That's going to be a great live with my boy Bear Down Cuz. So I'm excited for that one at least. So Jacob says, love all the way from Denmark. Niners fan from Europe. Shout out to the international Niner fans, man. We got a lot of international fans. And, the Niner fans travel so well. And there's fans all over the world. I get a lot of DMs and messages from people all over the world. And it's so cool to see Denmark, man. So shout out to Jacob, man. Oh, man. Avon Jimenez says, what's up with this keep the Jimmy news? Is it valid? The Niners have hinted through the months and the years. Jed York says he's okay with keeping Jimmy. John Lynch, he can't tell you what's going to happen. He probably doesn't even, none of these guys really know. I think they don't want to tell us. Of course, with the whole quarterback situation, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch have always been kind of mum. They don't like to tell us. We didn't even know quarterback situation last year all the way till the first day of regular season. It was a mess, right? And it's the same shit this year. That's quarterback drama. And it's always speculation. We don't know what's going to happen till it happens. But is Jimmy Garoppolo staying on the roster valid? Yeah, there's a chance. They're okay with it. I know Jed York said it. The team, Shanahan and Lynch, have said whatever happens. They're okay with whatever situation. Ultimately, if he stays on the roster, I don't think they care. Either way. I know that they probably want to find a resolution. As fans, we want resolutions because it's mind-numbingly irritating. It is so frustrating that every single day we wake up and we go to 49ers News, we always see one article or some report about Jimmy Garoppolo. Some reporters sitting there talking about Jimmy Garoppolo. Like yesterday, I was listening to not John Lynch, it was Kyle Shanahan on KMBR. They did the interview, and literally at the last minute of the interview, the guy goes, aren't you happy we didn't ask about Jimmy Garoppolo? And Kyle's like, yeah, thank you for not. But they still brought him up. So it's like, come on, just literally the most irritating news. So I feel like, yeah, there's still a chance that he gets to stay on the roster because they love the guy. They like him. And if there's no takers, they keep him. You got one more year with them. Maybe back up. But ultimately, as a fan, I think we just want it to be done. We want resolution. We just want it to be over with. So to answer your question, is it valid? I think there's validity to the point of Jimmy staying. But as a fan and as someone that's been covering this and following every movement of this whole situation over the last 2 years with the quarterback situation, I just want it to be over because it is so stressful every day. Waking up, pulling up the news. Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners going to Seattle. Jimmy Garoppolo might be going to Seattle. Jimmy Garoppolo should be the starting quarterback. Brett Favre says Jimmy Garoppolo should. I'm so over it, and I hope you guys. I know you guys are. Oh my God, absolutely crazy, man. Oh, Brendan Murphy says, do you know that Burns guy from TikTok? He's a Bears fan. I don't, but maybe I should try to connect with him. How many interceptions Fred Warner going to have in this game? I don't know if he gets one, maybe one. I think this season, Fred Warner is good for about 4 interceptions at most. I think this whole defense is going to be opportunistic. We're going to get a lot of interceptions overall. I think we're going to get a lot of turnovers. The front 7 is dominant, and you have an improved secondary. So that's just a making for turnovers. And they said they put an emphasis on turnovers this offseason. And you can see they had a lot of interceptions in training camp. These last 2 games, they've been creating turnovers. This defense looks like it's going to be very stingy, and it's going to be opportunistic. So I think Fred Warner could have 4 interceptions this year. So my man Jacob says they had him up till 5 a.m. to see the Niners and Green Bay game last season. It all paid off. That's amazing. That's amazing. Nick Bosa sacks. How many he's going to have this year? I don't know. What do you guys think? Caesar asks, how many sacks is Nick Bosa going to have this year total? I think he can have 18 to 20. I've said 18. He wants 20, apparently. You know, he's been floating around that 20-piece idea. I don't know. I honestly think that he could have 20 interceptions, sacks. I think Nick Bosa can have 20 sacks on the year easily. This guy's coming into the season in his best shape of his entire career. He's not coming off an ACL tear or any injury like he was last year. And last year he had a dominating season coming off an injury. Now this year he's just even in better shape. So I feel like Nick Bosa's primed to have at least 18 to 20 sacks. It's going to be phenomenal. He's the key piece to this defense, man. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun to see Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, the starters. I'm just happy to see the starters this week, and that's what I think we're all hyped up to see Trey Lance. We're hyped up to see Bosa, Fred Warner, Debo, Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams. Oh my God, the starters are in, and it's going to be fun. So speaking of starters and offensive linemen, we talked about Jason Pope. We also got to talk about some of these backups in the center position. So Jake the Snake Brendel, he's your starting center, right? How well is he going to hold up in the center spot, right? We don't know. And this is going to be a good shot to kind of see where Brendel is overall. And then we have to see where he develops from here. Because if he kind of struggles today, then we have to see over the weeks if he makes an improvement. So this is a big spot for the 49ers. You know, they lost Alex Mack to retirement. And this has been a big position of question and uncertainty going into the offseason. Jake Brendel. And then it was Dan Brunskill. Brunskill, you know, the bees. We didn't know who was going to start. And then Brunskill, unfortunately, got the hamstring injury. Fortunately for Brendel, he kind of was able to take this role, and he's basically your starting center. But then you still have Brunskill there, who may be able to play if Brendel kind of gets hurt or if he sucks down the line. So you do have some depth there. And today we found out that J.C. Tretter actually announced his retirement. Remember, this was the guy that everybody was like, oh, the Niners got to get Tretter. They got to get J.C. Tretter. Do you think they could get Tretter? Well, obviously they can't, and this is the reason why. Looks like he's been thinking about retirement, and he officially made that decision to retire today. So to answer your guys' question, no, the 49ers will not be getting J.C. Tretter. He retired. So there goes that. We can finally stop talking about J.C. Tretter to the Niners. And, you know, it's nice to know that, actually. It's nice to know that there's no more J.C. Tretter rumors to the 49ers. So you have Dan Brunskill and Jake Brendel. Those are going to be your centers this year. But then you got to talk about the other parts of the O-line. You have right tackle. We know Mike McGlinchey is dealing with the knee issue. So who the hell is going to suit up at right tackle? It looks like Colton McKivitz. They like what he's, shown in camp and everything like that. So I think McKivitz, he's proven himself to Kyle. Last year, this guy got cut, and now he's starting at right tackle until Mike McGlinchey's back. And you have a guy named Jalen Moore. Jalen Moore was a rookie last year. And Jalen Moore, he's been dealing with the leg injury, and now he gets a chance to go in and try to crack the roster. Can he make that step up? Can he solidify his spot on the roster, even though it's going to be a backup position? This is a big battle. Who's going to be that backup tackle? Because you got to have depth. Because you got Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey's hurt now, so Colton McKivitz is going to step in there. If God forbid anything ever happened to Trent Williams, who's going to be his backup? And to me, if Jalen Moore can have a solid game tonight, and he just basically locks his roster spot up. So push comes to shove, I think there's going to be 9 offensive linemen that make this team. You got Trent Williams, Aaron Banks, Jake Brendel, Spencer Burford. This will be his 3rd game starting at right guard for the Niners. Hell of an offseason for him. Training camp was amazing, and he dominated in the preseason. And let's hope he keeps it up. And then you got McGlinchey, but he's hurt. So you got Colton McKivitz, and then Jalen Mills, Jason Poe. Not Jordan Mills. I said Jalen Moore, and then Jason Poe. All the J's threw me off. So that's 8. You keep maybe one more lineman in there. You got Dan Brunskill. So those are the guys that probably make the final roster. So Williams, Banks, Brendel, McGlinchey, Burford, Jalen Moore, Dan Brunskill, Jason Poe, and Colton McKivitz. So I think that's who makes the final roster at lineman. But it's definitely got to be a little bit of a battle at that tackle spot because you still have some people jockeying for position. But I think Justin Skule's not making it. Keithan Sutherland's not making it. And, it's going to be a few players to keep an eye on there. Maybe Jordan Mills. Can Jordan Mills play better than Jalen Moore? I don't know. I like Jalen Moore. I think he's probably good enough to be a backup tackle on the team. So, my man Cameron Gillies is dropping some hate in here. Look at this. We got Cameron Gillies. I don't know. He must be a Saints fan. He says Nick Bosa is a bitch. Joey Bosa's better. Saints own the Niners. We're coming for y'all. This man, you want your attention? Here you go. Here's the attention you were waiting for. Oh, my God. Let's go, man. Oh, man. Blackbeard says, what up, Raj? It's game day, faithful. Yes, sir, Blackbeard. It's game day, and the trolls are out in full force. You love to see it, man. Unbelievable. 49ers Media says, everybody hit that like button. Absolutely correct. Hit that like button. Smash it up. Takes 2 seconds. Hit the like button, baby. Senior High Feed, my boy. Senior, let's go, man. Just took a dump. What did I miss? You didn't miss too much. We're just breaking down on what to expect for today's game, man. It's almost here, week 1. Let's go, man. I'm excited. I'm hyped up. Let's see. There's some more comments that I missed. Let's see. Bosa defensive player of the year, Trent Williams. Yeah. Y'all are wild in the chat. Let's get on to the next topic we should get to. So another position that we got to kind of keep an eye on is that safety position, right? We know Jimmy Ward is nursing the hamstring injury. How serious is it? I think Shanahan's kind of downplaying it, but he did say it's pretty serious yesterday when he talked to KMBR. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I want to kind of make sure that I hope Jimmy Ward's not seriously hurt and misses a lot of games, because that would suck, because he's definitely a big-time part of this team, and he's a captain. He's one of our better, defensive players. We can't afford to lose Jimmy Ward for any, extended period of time. But that brings me to safety. We know Talanoa Hufanga is your starting safety on the opposite side, so there's no question. He has nothing to prove, right? Hufanga's your starter. Who starts on the opposite side? You have George Odom or Tarvarius Moore, right? George Odom, it's not like he's looked horrible, but it's not like he's looked like, oh, man, that's the guy. He's a starter. He's elite. He looks serviceable. Like, he can fill in a few games. But if we play some elite receivers, he's going to get dog-walked, I hate to say it. He's a special teams guy. He's a Pro Bowl special teams guy, but he's not like a elite safety. He misses some tackles here. I know he had an interception last week against the Vikings. He had some good reps in joint practice, but also you got to give that interception some credit to other players. Drake Jackson kind of forced that interception. Drake Jackson doesn't get that, pressure and everything. I don't think George Odom is in position to make that interception, but he did intercept it. You got to give him his credit. And then you have Tarvarius Moore, who didn't play very well against the Packers. It was his first game back from a torn Achilles, and he got burnt like toast. Unfortunate. But he bounced back last week, and he had some solid reps against the Vikings. So it's one of these games where Odom and Moore are basically jockeying for position to be the second starter at safety. Because Jimmy Ward, if he's not there week 1, we need the best safety out there. This is going to be tough. And Jimmy Ward's a surefire tackler. And he doesn't miss tackles. This is a guy that can come in, and he always wraps up. He tackles. He's the enforcer. That's the key with these guys. They may or may not have the best coverage, whatever the case is. We're going to have Charvarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley and whoever's at nickel, probably Womack. I need these guys to wrap up and tackle, because the Niners miss a lot of tackles over the years, and I always hate to see a guy gets in open space and miss a tackle, and then they go for a big yard. We can't have these safeties missing these tackles. If you're your safety, you're that last line of defense, and you're trying to stop a touchdown from scoring. So we need one of these guys to be able to tackle. Odom and Moore, this is a big battle. And then you got Tashawn Gibson, the veteran they brought in. Will he be able to, be up to speed in a short amount of time? I know he's a veteran and he could probably learn the playbook pretty quickly, but he hasn't been on the team more than a week. So can he come in right away and show something enough to make the roster? Can he do enough to make a roster in a week? It's tough for me to say. I don't know if Tashawn Gibson is going to make the final roster. I know a lot of people are excited. If Jimmy Ward's hurt, do they put him on injured reserve? No, I don't think so. I think he'll be back within the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season. But is that enough to keep Gibson on the roster? Will he be able to make the roster over Hufanga, Moore, or Odom? I don't think so. He just barely got on the team. Maybe it's just a depth, signing to make it through the week. I don't think Gibson makes the roster. If he makes the roster, I'll be surprised, put it that way. So, we'll see. But at the end of the day, you got Odom and Moore. They're going to be looking over their shoulder tonight to make sure the other guy's not doing better, because the player that does better is starting in place of Ward. Bottom line. So, bottom line. RE Investor Odoms. He says Odoms has been pursuing in the box, but he shouldn't see one-on-one coverage with the cornerbacks we got. But if we call the wrong defensive personnel, we should come out and dime to start Odom and stay in the box. Yeah, he's a lot better in the box. Again, if you're forcing him in coverage, you might get burnt all night. So, normal education. Ambry Thomas is going to be dangerous. I'm a big Ambry fan, but I think he needs a little bit more development. I don't know what it is. I think mentally, and he's hurt, so I don't know if he starts the season on the actual roster. He might need a little bit of time to heal up, so we'll see. But I hope Ambry kind of comes in and brings that dog with him. That brings me to cornerback. The cornerback position is very solid this year. They have a lot of depth. You have a guy like Charvarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley. Those two guys will be healthy, for the regular season, thankfully. I mean, they dodged a big bullet. Muscle strains can be very nasty, but they look like they played it safe. They'll be okay. But now you got backups. You have Diamador Lenore. We've talked about it. He's really stepped up. Sam Womack looks like he's trying to make a case for that, nickel corner spot. But Diamador Lenore has been playing good. He can also play outside. You have Ambry Thomas. You got Castro Fields. You got Quantrez Knight, who's been very solid this year. You got Taylor Hawkins out there. So there's a lot of younger guys. I don't think all of them make it, obviously. I think Castro Fields probably goes to practice squad. Quantrez Knight as well, but they're really nice players that they can develop. So I like those guys. And then Ambry Thomas, again, they spent a third-round pick on him. Will he make the 53-man roster? Probably, but again, my thinking is they'll probably put him on some type of injury list, and then he can kind of clear later, and they can drop him back on. Then you got Dante Johnson. This guy plays every position in the secondary. Safety, cornerback, nickel, whatever you want him to play, he'll do it. He'll tell you, I mean, he's been on the team for a very long time, but he's the type of guy where they can cut him and bring him back, So I don't know if Dante Johnson makes the final roster, but he'll still be with the team because he's a guy that they could say, oh, we got an injury. Yo, what's up, man? We got to make this happen. So we got to make this happen. Got to make it happen. Yes, sir, Rohan. We live again. We just got to keep grinding. We got to do our early show. So, we talked about backup O-linemen. We talked about cornerbacks. We talked about, let's see, I don't think we talked about backup quarterbacks. Brock Purdy, Nate Sudfeld. Let's get to it real quick. Can Purdy do good enough and raise his value to make this final roster? I don't know. I think he's been playing well, and you got to think about it. If he plays so good enough and other teams see this, this is basically his assessment, his ability to show people that, hey, I'm good enough to make this roster, right? I'm good enough to play in the NFL. If he plays good again and he has a third straight good game, teams that have a quarterback vacancy or they want a nice backup, a guy to develop, they might pull the plug and say, hey, look, let's bring Purdy in. We can develop him. I mean, Nick Mullins, he got a, 7th-round pick in trade. Nick Mullins still got a job. There's quarterbacks that probably, you're like, how the hell do they have a job? Brock Purdy has not looked bad. He's a solid rookie. This is the guy, if he plays good enough, it might make it hard for Shanahan to say, we'll cut him to clear waivers and go to practice squad. Because if they cut him, some team might actually take Brock Purdy. And I like what Brock Purdy's shown. If he has a good game, he might stick his way onto the roster. I know not a lot of people think that we could stay with 3 quarterbacks, but I'm telling you, man, the league loves this league is quarterback based. If he has a good game, teams are going to want to snag him and then see what he's all about. If he puts good film on tape, why not take Brock Purdy? So I think that he can play well tonight, force his way on the roster. But it is tough because you got to have to drop. You're going to have to cut some people on this roster to make room for a third quarterback that's not going to play. So it is controversial to sit here and say that Kyle Shanahan will have 3 cornerbacks on the team, quarterbacks on the team, because that's going to take away from another spot. And we've already talked about O-line is tough, D-line, which we'll get into, cornerback. These positions have a lot of players that can serve good depth. Do you want to just waste a spot on a quarterback? But if you lose a quarterback that you kind of think you can develop to another team, it kind of sucks. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Brock Purdy is a guy that I feel that can make the final roster. We did talk about backup O lineman. I want to go into backup D lineman real quick. This is another position. There's so much talent. You cut one of these guys, they could start anywhere on the team. You got Kerry Hyder. He's very versatile. He can play anywhere. Hassan Ridgeway, they signed him this offseason. Stout against the run, but he missed some time because of the quad injury. He's trying to get back into speed. And he got Kamoko Toure. This guy's been absolutely everywhere on the line this year. Where the hell hasn't he been? This guy's a beast. One of those guys might get cut. Kerry Hyder's the veteran. And again, he's been a couple years back. He led the team in sacks. A quality veteran that can play anywhere on the line. He might be on the roster bubble, which is crazy. Then you got Alex Barrett. You got Kevin Atkins and Akeem Spence. Those guys might get cut. One of those 3 guys, actually all 3 of those guys probably get cut, but they could be practice squad candidates, right? They're not bad. They're good players, but we have so much depth. But maybe one of them doesn't clear waivers. Like Kevin Atkins might not clear waivers and get signed, but that's the problem with having all this depth. You got to play it right. Will the Niners take 11 defensive linemen? It's going to be interesting. If these guys ball out tonight, it's going to make it hard to want to keep a guy like Purdy because, again, Kerry Hyder, he looks good enough to make the roster. Kamoko Toure and Hassan Ridgeway. All 3 of these guys were off-season signings. And they may not, one of them may not make the roster. So it is something to keep an eye on. Like, again, you got Kevin Atkins and Akeem Spence and guys like that. They're pretty young players with upside. I don't think they make the final roster. But if you cut them, they may not clear waivers and go to the practice squad like Kyle wants. So it's all about strategy. It's going to be interesting to watch. Then wide receiver. Malik Turner, to me, is the one wide receiver that we don't talk about that has a chance to solidify a roster spot. I don't care about Willie Snead or Johnson or any of these other guys. Malik Turner has been nice during training camp and in preseason. I think he can do enough to make the roster. Might keep 6 receivers, and Malik can make this roster because of the fact he plays special teams. So keep an eye on Malik Turner. And finally, my boy Trey Lance. All eyes on Trey. Let's be real. We are all excited to see the Trey Lance era. What is Kyle going to do with him? What is he going to let him do tonight? How many plays is he going to get? Is he going to throw an interception? And if he throws an interception, will 49ers Twitter absolutely fucking lose their mind if he does? They probably will. And if he does throw an interception, how does he bounce back? Such a big game, and it's a preseason game, but there's so much to think about. And Trey Lance, again, this is the last preseason game until he does it for real as the true quarterback 1 in the regular season. Every rep counts. There's no more practice to cry about. This is real deal Holyfield. After today, you throw out practice reports. You want to see him go every week and show what he's about. This is it. This is where the media is going to put him under a microscope, and every rep, every snap, every throw is going to get dissected, and it's going to get crazy. But I want Trey Lance to absolutely shine and dominate. I can't wait. I cannot wait for Trey Lance to go out there and play with the ones today. I want to see him connect with Debo. I want to see him shine with Ayuk. I'm so incredibly excited. What is Kyle Shanahan going to let Trey and the offense do? Is it going to be vanilla? Most likely going to be some scripted plays to start. But after the script ends, is Trey going to go in there and do his own thing? Is he going to run? Is he going to have scripted runs? Is he going to have like those design runs? Is he going to be able to let it rip? Well, we'll find out tonight. So I'm absolutely incredibly excited. I'm so hyped. So hyped. So excited. Senior Hype, you see these hammy injuries worry me, especially lingering ones deep in the season. Me too, man. That's why I'm glad that some of these injuries happened early. We can kind of be safe. They got 17 days until the season starts, so some of these players did have hamstring injuries. They got 17 days to kind of rest and massage that out. So hopefully these injuries don't linger too far into the season. But I'm excited. That's all I'm gonna give you today. I got a couple errands to run now, but I just wanted to come in live early in the morning, drop a little preview, talk Niners with you. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Enjoy the rest of your day. Let's go Niners. And remember, in the comments, in the video after it posts on, go in the comments, drop your score prediction. If you get the score prediction right, I'm giving you a big shout out on the next show. So please put your score predictions on the show comments. And I love you guys so much. Appreciate you. I will talk to you later. Have a good day. Target, sponsor your boy. We're wearing another Target shirt for the 8th straight day. Bang, bang. Niner gang. Hit that like button, baby. Let's go.